Hi, Peter. Welcome to the Impact Revolution channel. Thank you so much for coming. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to talk with you.
Same here. Before we go to your experience, normally I ask two personal questions, just for the audience to know you a bit better. That's okay with you, Peter?
Sure,
All
sure.
right. So you live in Barbados, you've been all over the world and you like the beaches, and I can see the picture behind you. But if you could wake up anywhere in the world tomorrow, Peter, where it would be?
In Barbados.
In Barbados, right? Okay, it was a tricky
Well, I mean, I
question.
have traveled a lot. So
Uh-huh.
I was born in Trinidad,
Uh-huh.
um, and
Mm.
my wife is from Barbados. So I moved here a long time ago, 1970 actually.
All
And
right.
I love it here. And I've often thought if I moved, where would that be, you know?
Uh-huh.
I haven't found an answer yet.
All
Not that it's perfect, but it's a really lovely place to live. Actually, lovely people. It's nice weather. It's very convenient for a lot of things. You know, I really love working and living here. It's great.
right. I interview a few people from Barbados. I'm looking forward to visit it one day.
You
Okay,
should. It's worth a visit. Actually, it's
definitely.
really, although it's small. I mean, it's only we got 166 square miles. Now you're in Brazil, so that must be like a little dot.
Yeah.
We only have
Definitely.
300,000 people,
Uh-huh.
but you'd be surprised at how diverse it is in terms of things to do and places to see.
Uh-huh.
And so the parts of the island are different. I live over on the east coast, which is the Atlantic coast. So I'm looking out on the ocean here, the Atlantic Ocean actually, which
All
the
right.
picture that is behind me is of.
Uh-huh.
But I'm
Uh-huh.
actually looking straight out there now. And the next
That's
stop from
cool.
there is Africa. 3,000 miles away is Gambia.
Uh-huh.
Senegal. If I went straight out of here, I
Uh-huh.
would I'd travel for 3,000 miles. I would be
Yeah, you
in
calculated it.
west coast of
That's cool.
Africa. Now,
That's cool.
that's interesting because
Uh-huh.
most of the people who live in the Caribbean, of course, came from Africa
Sure, yeah, of course,
originally.
yeah.
You know, as part of
Uh-huh.
the slave trade.
Uh-huh.
My family are European origins, but we weren't involved in any way involved with the slave trade at all. We were
Uh-huh.
my father's family were originally from Germany, and they came out here.
Mm.
Actually, it's a long story, which we don't have the time for, but they came accidentally, ended up in Trinidad in the late 19th century.
All right.
It's my name, Peter Booz, which is a German name. But no,
Uh-huh.
I really feel, having traveled a lot around the world, there's many places I really have enjoyed a lot. But when you boil it all down in terms of
One
all the
second, Peter.
things, the quality of life,
Uh, uh-huh. I lost you
all
for a second. Sorry. Yes.
yeah, sorry.
I
Oops.
don't know. No, it was mine. All right. Thank you for sharing that, Peter. That's awesome. That's awesome. No, Barbados has to be amazing. I really looking forward to know more about this place.
You
And the
should.
second question, Peter, it was, if you were to leave a message to the whole world, all right, what it will be?
Integrity.
Integrity. Okay. Why
It's the
is
most
that?
it's the most important value to have.
Mm,
Because
all right, cool.
if you don't have integrity, you can't be trusted.
Mm,
If you can't
mm,
be trusted, you can't be a leader.
uh,
Um, and we need good leaders. So to me, by far the most important thing is integrity. I think almost anything else, you know. I think
mm,
obviously on top of that you have things like, I mean, I'm a practicing Catholic, so
mm,
I am very much affected by Catholic social teaching around compassion, forgiveness,
uh-huh.
uh,
Love. Uh-huh.
understanding, caring for people and that sort of thing.
Mm,
Um, yeah, but I think I really do think that as an issue in the world today, this so often we wonder, can we believe anything we're being told? It's this problem. That's a problem. So I would put that really.
I
If
love
I
it. I love
if
it.
I were interviewing anybody for a job today, that's the first question. That's where I would probe. Apart from obviously you then probe their skills and so on
Uh-huh.
and so forth. But you know, do they have
Uh,
integrity? Real integrity? Do they really have integrity? Are
uh,
they are they
Especially
willing?
nowadays with social media that everybody's
Well, no, you
pretending to
can't believe anything
be.
anymore. That's the problem,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
You
That's a
just
good
don't you
point,
just don't know who to believe, and it's going to get worse, of course, with artificial
Uh,
intelligence
that's
coming
going to be.
at a pace.
Yeah, I'm
But that to
afraid of that
me,
one.
Yoshi, is my message.
Thank
And
you.
this is the thing I tell my grandchildren. I have six grandsons,
Uh-huh.
and
Mm,
by the way, they're all here in Barbados. But
that's cool. That's nice.
that's what I try to encourage them with. I think that everybody has a particular passion, skill, and so on, and they will find that hopefully at some point.
Uh,
They should
uh,
pursue it. But if they pursue it within the framework of having integrity, I think they will be happy.
yes, yes. I'm an emotional coach, so working, practicing your values and your passion and all that is what more fulfilling and more meaningful life you can live, in terms of living authentically, I think. Yeah.
Well, yes, and that's if I just to go on a bit about this, because
Sure.
I told you before we started this call, I'm celebrating 60 years
Yeah.
with one woman, my wife.
Congratulations.
We've been married 54 years,
Uh-huh.
and we were together 6 years before that, and we met very young. My
Uh-huh.
wife she's from Barbados, I'm from Trinidad. She was 16 when I met her, and I was 18. But what kept us together, what kept us together? That's the question. And a lot of it was what you mentioned, values. We shared the
Uh-huh.
same values, uh,
Totally.
and we kept coming back to those values. You know,
Mm,
what was
mm,
it really important to us when decisions were being made about whatever the hell you want to do,
uh-huh.
whatever it is. But if the values are underpinning your decision
Yeah,
making, you
yeah.
must always align your decisions with values. And I used to tell my son when he gave me a lot of trouble, I said,
Uh-huh.
you have freedom to do what you want, but
Uh-huh.
there are consequences.
Yeah,
Responsibility comes with it.
definitely.
But I think values are what has kept us together, because whenever there were challenges, and of course there always are challenges, everybody's going to be challenged in life, but you have to have, I think, a foundation
It's
which
the basics, right? It's the foundation, as you
which
said.
means something to you. It's not just do it. I mean, this model of just do it is nonsense. You don't
Yeah,
just do it, and it's not all about you. Yeah, that's the other problem we have, I think, today. So
yeah,
it's too much a me kind of a world.
yeah.
I think that's not going to get you success in life. You
It's
don't get
other people center goals, and objectives. I think that
I,
makes
as I say, I
meanings.
come back. Well, in my case, right, I try to live this. I mean, as best as I know how. I fail all the time, but
Hmm.
your mission in life from a Christian perspective is to love
Uh-huh.
God and to love your neighbor as yourself. My ambition, believe it or not, and people laugh when I tell them this, is to be a saint.
That's cool. That's cool. Oh my God. All right. That's
Well,
nice.
why not? I mean, what better could there be? I mean, I can't be Elon Musk, or I mean, but
I
maybe I
love
can have
it.
a
I
shot
love
at
it.
being a saint.
Uh,
I
uh,
couldn't think of anything better really, because if whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or Jewish or have no faith, I don't think it matters. I think the values that we share as humans are very similar.
yeah, yeah, totally. I
And
like a lot of Buddhism, and I
I
admire
haven't been
Buddha,
familiar with the Buddhism, but absolutely,
Yeah,
they're beautiful, peaceful, loving.
yeah, mindful, it's very connected with the coaching and psychology as well, I think. So that's why I like it, and this illumination and being always, in love and compassion, I think is good, it's very good. Yeah.
We have to we have to. I always say in English, the F word is usually means something bad, but I think in the normal language, the F word is the forgiveness word.
Uh,
Um, I
definitely.
always try and tell people you got to remember to use the F word, um,
I love it.
which
Yeah,
is forgiveness,
mm,
and it's not easy. I mean, let's face it.
yeah,
Let's
and
face it.
especially self-forgiving. Self-forgiving. I
Well,
think
that
is
too.
the that's
Too.
one of
That
the
is
hardest.
actually a very valid point, Yoshi.
Yeah,
Self-forgiving.
yeah,
We struggle with
self-forgiving.
that, don't we? We carry out the luggage of our sins and our
Yeah.
mistakes.
Yeah. We torture ourselves many times, it's unbelievable. Thank you so much. This is great. This is I'm loving the interview so far, Peter. I wanted to ask you, because I very surprised, right? I told you before the interview of your experience. You have done so many things, and now you are doing a lot of philanthropic, humanitarian kind of work. And I was wondering, what is your why? What is keeping you after retiring, all right, on Eastern and Young and with Emeritus title and all that? What drives you? Yeah, why are you doing what you're doing,
Why am I
Peter?
doing what I'm doing now?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose I'm driven to use my talents and resources to help other people. I
Mm.
think that's really what it's about. I mean, I have my. This may seem strange to some folks, but I'm actually trying to get poorer,
You're trying to get poorer,
poorer.
and
Yeah,
sir?
in
Why?
the sense, that I
Uh-huh.
have, because of my success in my career and things
Uh-huh.
that I've done, I was able to save more than enough money for what I need, and what my family need, and to take care of their needs. So
Uh-huh.
my ambition is to share it with other people. So that's what I do. I am in the process of actually actively becoming poorer by helping people through. Not I do a lot of some of it is on the LinkedIn, but I do a lot of interesting work. Some of it, and why do I do it? Because I think it's the right thing to do. Because I think our mission in the life is to love, isn't it? And
Mm.
hopefully that's what it is. Uh, so
I
it
think
isn't,
so, I think doing the right thing, doing the good, it's about
So
karma as well. It's about meaning, right? And helping the others. And I really like this quote that you had in your bio, which is from Maya Angelou. I think is you learn, teach, you get, give. I love it.
absolutely,
I never
absolutely.
heard it. I never heard it, and I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for somebody like me, I had the I was fortunate in my life in terms of
Uh-huh.
the opportunities I had. Okay, I made the best of them, but I can use my talents, whether it's money, which is only part of my talents or what I have
Uh-huh.
to give,
Sure.
um, to help people who a little bit of what I have, whether it's say simply, it doesn't necessarily mean having, giving them money, but it could be something simply as giving them a bit of advice. Somebody
Definitely.
yesterday, I went to take a passport photo, and to renew my passport, and the lady there, I'm fairly well known here in Barbados, and the lady there
Okay.
said to me, how do I how do I how do I invest in Barbados?
Uh-huh.
So I
Okay,
said, well,
cool.
that's an interesting question. I said, I don't have time to answer that now. But coming out of that, I've thought another project, is to help people who have savings here, who haven't the faintest idea about how to invest money sensibly. That
Mm,
because I have those skills and they don't have access to them. Normally, people, if you like, asset managers, investment managers, want to have clients who have millions.
mm,
I'm talking about helping people who have maybe thousands. That's it.
mm,
Maybe not
mm,
as much as 10,000.
mm.
So
Sure.
to me, that's like another. I say, wow, well, I'm going to give that some thought. How, I mean, well, because
Yeah,
you know what that Yoshi, it seems so. For me, it just seems like such a silly, almost a silly question. I don't want to put it in those terms because it wasn't a silly question,
sure,
but
Peter.
But people like that don't have access to people like me, if you
Yeah,
will,
yeah.
who have
I
the
see.
ability to help them
That's
uh,
really cool.
in a way that you can. So I'm thinking about actually doing something that, again, it wouldn't be something I no, I wouldn't charge for it. I don't earn any income
Uh-huh.
anymore from sort of consulting, and I don't do any consulting or public speaking for money. I don't do that. All the money I have earned, I've invested sensibly,
Uh-huh.
uh, and that's money I use now to do the work that I do. And
All right.
as I say,
That's very interesting, Peter. Thank you so much. I was wondering, it's just something that came to my mind as, out of curiosity. Were you always like this, or when you were retired from Eastern and Young, something happened and maybe you wanted to help the others, or maybe you saw something? It was something that switched your mind, or I was wondering.
that's a good question.
Uh huh.
That's a good question. Um, I would say, first of all, I'd like to pay tribute to my father
Okay.
because I came up in a normal family. I had both parents. One of five siblings. I was the second in line. So
Okay.
I had parents where we had a very normal
Mm-hmm.
family, And
Sure.
I was very fortunate to be able to be sent away to a boarding school in England when I was 12 years old. Um,
Nice. Uh huh.
so I really was, not many people would have had those
Yeah,
types.
you were blessed. You were lucky.
But
Yes.
then I found out. I mean, I became what is called a chartered accountant. I don't know it's CPA they call it in the states.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah, I understand. I was a
you
chartered
know,
engineer. Yeah, there is
right,
things like
exactly.
that in
So
England. Yeah.
it's a
Mhm.
top quality. So I did that, and I joined a big firm of accountants. Ended up as being part of Ernst and Young. Um,
Mhm.
but in the
Okay.
process of doing that job,
Uh-huh.
I really discovered accounting as such wasn't really what interested me. Um,
Mm.
so I found myself much more. My skills were more, which is the emotional side, your left brain or your right brain, whichever is the emotional side.
Right. Right.
The emotional side is right, but I'm very much more. It's just unusual, really, for accountants, but
Yeah, that's right.
I'm much more of a right brain person. I'm very,
Mm.
so I'm very driven and emotional. But to come back to the main point of your question, um,
Mhm.
we had some challenges with one of our children
All right.
um, with drugs.
Okay.
Um, and that, again, had a huge impact
Sure.
on my life.
Mm.
But another thing to people to remember,
Mm.
there's always two sides to every coin, or a benefit for every negative. There usually is a good that will come out of it. So as a result of that, I got involved in establishing a very successful addiction treatment center in Barbados,
Mm.
called Verdon House and
I
Marina
saw about
House.
it. That's cool.
And so, despite the agony of having a child who's suffering with the problem,
Mhm.
out of that came this investment, which is going now about 25 years very successfully, and we've been really, it's a
Congratulations and thank you for that,
terrific story, and my son, who was the one who was suffering, he's done well and he's doing
Mm.
fine, and he has three lovely grandchildren for me. So that was something that, I guess. But I
Yeah.
think also, Josie, that it seemed to be just, maybe it was my Catholic upbringing. I don't know.
Or
Um,
maybe, I believe a lot in the universe. Sometimes they push us or they give us signals or messages in order for us to change, because, yeah, I don't know, I'm very surprised in this case. And maybe that was the message, and I think also from the worst experiences is where we can grow the most, and those these traumatic experiences sometimes can actually make us more focused and finding more meaning and purpose in life. So thank you for sharing that, Peter. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I'm not shy to share my what I've had to go through, and but mostly my life has been a dream, But I mean,
One day I can tell you mine. Don't worry.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I don't have nothing to hide either. All right, Peter. So I was curious, because you've done so much already. I was wondering, what is your project or your most proud thing that you have done so far? You had to choose one or two.
A successful marriage.
That's it. So much. Yeah. Okay. All right. The second one. The second one.
The second one.
The second one.
Um,
Uh,
yes, I tell you what it is. Actually, it's actually quite an easy one to answer. Funnily
uh-huh.
enough, so um, I
Uh,
became at a young age a partner with Ernst and Young when I was only 27. Actually, here in Barbados, it was small. It was a very small practice at the time.
sure.
But Barbados got into, as the world was globalizing, don't forget this was back in the late 60s, early 70s, and globalization was very, very much in its infancy.
Uh-huh.
But I became the leader of the practice here in Barbados at a young age,
Nice.
with the help of many, many people who I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
We built a business that was very people focused.
All right.
So my greatest achievement, really, I think, outside of a successful marriage,
Mm,
has been to build a business, a firm that at that time, by the way, the firms were much more independent than they are now. They're much more integrated
mm,
now into the bigger world thing. But in those days, you still had a lot of power at the local level. And I
mm,
had that power at the local level. So the thing that makes me proudest is that we ran the business to include the people, for the people. When things went bad, the partners didn't protect their earnings. They took
ah,
cuts and protected the people at the bottom. We cared for
that's
people.
nice.
We looked after the people. It was about the people. So up to today, I mean, the lady who used to make the tea in the office. I
Mm,
communicate with her every day.
mm-hmm. That's
Uh,
beautiful.
so it was so to me, what biggest achievement was being a leader of a business that really made life better for people. That is it.
That's lovely. Remind me to the second quote I love from all your quotes is that a successful business is someone that helps society, right? That makes society better. It was by Hyundai, something in those lines. Uh, I love it, because tomorrow, we have a kind of a meeting reunion that someone from Steve Denning, I don't know, you know him. He's a very known manager or agile management expert. Okay, and there are a lot of examples, right now, today's that I don't think are doing the better society, like Apple or Facebook or Meta, these kind of organizations that are billion, trillions value in the marketplace companies. And so, I really like that quote because I think business has to make society better and make the humans more happy or successful or make them more intelligent, in a way. So,
Yeah, I
yeah, I
never
like that.
felt business. This may sound odd, and I was the highest paid person in the firm because I was the senior partner there. But the business to me was never about how much money I could make.
Mm,
It was never about that.
mm,
It was helping other people have a good life and see them progress. I always wanted to see that.
yeah,
So I am a great believer. Actually, I think the old model of capitalism um, is not the one we should be pursuing. I think we should pursuing a model where business people see it as their responsibility to make other people's lives better. That's how I look at it,
me
and
too.
they should do everything possible to do that. From the point of view of how they recruit people, how they train them, how they
Uh-huh.
all of those things.
Uh-huh.
The focus should be, in my view, around the people. I mean, if you
Yeah.
look after the people will look after you always,
Sure. Sure.
always.
Definitely. Definitely. And what you remind my first mentor, I told you, right? Also making others better. He was leader as well.
Yeah, what's better than making somebody happy? Making their lives better. And you never know how you're doing it. I get people who would come back to me years later and say, "Gosh, I remember you did this or you did that," and I did. I wasn't even aware that the action I was taking was having such a influence on their lives. But I've lost your sound. I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. Your sound is gone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
don't know why this headset is giving me issues
Yeah,
today. I'm sorry, Peter. I'm very sorry.
no problem. No problem.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that. I really think it's about developing people and making people better, and giving them responsibility and autonomy, and also something beyond themselves, right? So they can master some skills. So I really like that. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
mean the things that I did. If you look at my thing, I did the Substance Abuse Foundation, which was the addiction treatment, which I
Yeah.
was sort of. And often, if you look at charity work, a lot of people who go in to do charity work usually have had some experience that they want to try and help fix.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then every things I did after that, I worked with another group that form a thing called the Barbados Entrepreneurship Foundation, and that again was all about unleashing the talents and skills of other people to make their lives better. And
Mm.
then I set up a thing called the Aspire Foundation, which is a charity which helps other charities be sustainable, and all those charities, of course, make life better for people. So all of the things
I
I,
love it. I love it. And I was.
I've always been. I love the underdog, if you like. I do a lot of work in the disabled space. I love disabled people. Done a lot of work with the deaf, and still we're doing some. I'm actually doing a very exciting project right now, which I'll quickly tell you about. We are teaching deaf people to evangelize deaf people. Can you imagine that? Teaching deaf people to evangelize deaf people. Only 2% of deaf people in the world have ever heard of Jesus Christ. So,
I'm amazed. I'm amazed. And we are at the end of the interview, and I'm sorry for that because I could talk with you and ask you many questions,
that's
Peter,
all
for
right.
sure. Is that, what are the main lessons learned that you have gathered from all these startups, right? That you have built up and these organizations that you construct in order to be successful, right? In all of them or most of them. I don't know if it was all of them, but anyway, what are the best practices or best things that comes to your mind, that you can share with us?
Say that again. I'm sorry, I missed the question again.
Yes, the lessons learned from these companies that you have started, Peter. Is there any main lessons that come to your mind to make others to be successful for entrepreneurs or startups?
Yeah, yeah. I think be good to people, care for people,
Mhm.
um, be understanding. I'm very driven. I mean, I don't. I'm not that necessarily all that easy to work for, but at the end of the day, I am very concerned to make sure. Yeah, I think
Uh-huh.
it's about to me is to feel good that you made life better for
Uh-huh.
some other people. That to me is what it's been about, and I feel that makes me feel pretty decent.
All right, very good. Yeah, feel driven and be good for people. Lovely interview, Peter. Thank you so much for your time. It was a big pleasure learning from you and having you here. I was wondering if you have anything else to share before we close out.
No, I just think that I would say to people,
Yes.
be life giving. You know, that's a term. One of the things my wife and I did was also help couples prepare for marriage, you know, and one of the ideas that we were given was this idea of being life giving as opposed to being life taking. Be careful of what you say, be careful of your words, you know.
Uh-huh.
So be life giving wherever you can be, and you can be all the time.
All right, I love it. Life given. Thank you
Life
so
giving.
much. Thank you so much. I love it. I cannot say anything more than that. I think it's a beautiful finish. Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much. I really appreciate
Lovely
it.
to meet you, Yoshi, and listen, all the best in your life and career. You're going to be huge.
Same, same. Thank you so much, Peter. I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.